Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today we are going to take a look at a game that I feel is maybe our modern interpretation of at least two games from a prior generation that I have a great fondness for. So we're going to take a look at a game here known as The Hidden Isle and its accompanying deck of traditional tarot cards called the Spheres of Heaven Tarot. And surprisingly, this game is a hack of the Power by the Apocalypse, which in itself technically is a hack of Forged in the Dark games based on Blades in the Dark. And not only does it have an accompanying tarot deck card, but it uses it for its sole mechanic. Now, I put an asterisk next to that because while the tarot deck is intrinsic to the game, there is kind of a way, if you really want to hack the system and you really don't want to use cards, but I completely suggest that you do. There is a method to using dice for the game. It doesn't suggest it because I think the cards really make the game, but whatever. But anyway, I've talked too long. Let's get the intro going. Let's ensure that everyone else is able to take part in this show live before we get into The Hidden Isle. So yes, The Hidden Isle is a tabletop role-playing game. We're going to show you the accompanying digital supplements that come with it, the character sheet, some of the mechanics and such. But I've had a great interest in games that use or utilize some form of card mechanic, which I think is underserved in the tabletop community. And I thought I would just share these things with you guys, if you don't mind. I just received this. Of course, this is the physical copy of the game. I did receive the digital version. There are many people who have done extended reviews of this game. Dave Falmavor is one of the most popular that I can think of off the top of my head. And allow me to place this under the camera. I made reference that this game reminds me of Everway. Now, Everway is a game from the 90s. I think it was definitely ahead of its time. And this game had its own heavily modified version of tarot cards. Now, what they did is, for those of you that are familiar with tarot cards in general, there's now you can like have your own custom-made ones. So there's plenty of them. But initially, tarot cards come in what they call major arcana and minor arcana. Think of a traditional set of playing cards today with the numerical values as being the minor and then the face cards as being the major arcana. And in Everway, essentially what they did is they replaced all the minor cards and made the entire deck major arcana, so that they all have those cards that have the names printed on them. And this card deck in Everway also has like numbers in the edges, and there's like artwork for all of them, and they have card titles like The Toy Maker and The Ritual, The Wedding, The Dance, The Battlefield, and things like that. But in The Hidden Isle, let's move Everway out the way, because it requires and deserves its own spotlight. In the Hidden Isle, we do come across a deck of tarot cards, and it does come with a booklet. The booklet tends to explain, give you an overview of each of the cards, giving its 1 or 2 page spread for each of the cards. For example, a little difficult for you to see here, but it does talk about the 5 of Wands, 6 of Wands, and this does use the rather traditional form of wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, I believe. Yep. Wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. And I believe it's a 78 card spread. I'm trying to think. I need enough light to be able to see it, but not enough to get a glare. These cards are a bit matte in color, which is actually kind of cool. But even my light is giving it quite a bit of reflection. But anyway, right here we have our major arcana cards, and with these major arcana cards at the very bottom, it will have the name of that card, usually like the Fool, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, and a bit of art. I happen to be a fond. I like to desire this. What I'm going to call it. Elsewhere, I would call it splatterpunk. This is more of instead of splatterpunk, I guess you could call it like maybe oil painting or watercolor punk, I suppose would be the form of it. The artwork is generalized enough that you can get a lot of interpretation from it. Also, this card deck was designed with this game in mind, so it does give you it does immerse you in the physical elements of the game. And then over here we have each of the suits of cards, from wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. And then the back of the cards, it's like an infinity symbol. But really what you guys want to see are the aspects of the book and what this game is about. The reason why I suggested or hinted that this game is very much like Everway and another game that I honestly don't have, which is Ars Magica, which just completed a Kickstarter for releasing it as a open gaming license, which is kind of cool. Can't wait to see that part of the game. But anyway, we're going to get into some of the digital aspects of this game. And if you are familiar with Powered by the Apocalypse, specifically Blades in the Dark, this is absolutely a hack of that system. And what it does is takes the tarot deck cards and separates them so that the major arcana cards, the ones that have the traditional names on them, you separate these into 2 decks of cards. So the most common one, which is the card of death and whatnot, the named cards are placed aside, and they are used as both in-world for the players to see, maybe a seer or an oracle or a character like that, NPC or ally adversary will show them the cards in-game. Also, they're used for prompts to further the story, to create twists and turns and such. But the minor arcana are numbered, and they do number ace. They do have aces, and ace is essentially, like, for example, this is an ace card, and at the very top, it's difficult to see. It's difficult to see, but there is a number 1. Each of these cards at the very top does have a number. These cards are, by the way, I haven't shuffled them. They are in order, and they do this. They go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. And based on the suit, whether it's wands, cups, swords, or pentacles, you might pull the 8 of wands, the 6 of swords, the 2 of pentacles, and in this case, the ace counts as a number 1. And that is how the game is able to get around using dice. So there is a numerical value from 1 through 10, and then there are 4 suits. So you essentially have 40 cards, and you use those cards, you shuffle through them, pull random cards, and then you have a numerical value associated with your particular stats and things like that. There are also the traditional face cards that we would see in playing cards, the page, the knight, the queen, and the king. And of course, the page and the knight would be something like Jack, you know, the king, queen, Jack. But in this case, these are tarot associated. Well, Heliopia, hello. Hello, hello, hello. All right, but let's get into some of the digital things. I've got to order another camera, and this current one is not the best, not quite the best. And I'll throw up your comments once people get into the chat and have some questions. I'll throw up some comments. But what we have here is the digital cover to the book, known as The Hidden Isle. And it is called a Tarot RPG of sorcery and adventure. What I like about this, if I have to make a comparison, and I really dislike making too many comparisons, but I think in this case it's actually warranted. Everway and Ars Magica, The Hidden Isle is kind of a combination of the two. So if you're familiar with Everway is the tabletop role-playing game of playing a character within the world of Magic the Gathering. You are sphere walkers. You go from dimension to dimension, world to world, interdimensional portal to portal, and getting involved in numerous adventures. But it is missing a little bit of a refined method because it's so expansive, like so multi-dimensional, parallel universes and things like that, traveling through the planes and elemental regions and such. It's a little bit too fuzzy for some people. Ars Magica is a non-tarot deck using. It is a complete tabletop role-playing game, and it uses traditional dice and the whole 9 yards, and it has a little bit of focus. I think The Hidden Isle falls somewhere in between. This game does use traditional numbers, not dice, but numbers. And those numbers, like a deck of cards, do number from 1 through 10, with ace being the 1, and then it goes through 1 to 10, and then we use what we would consider playing cards, face cards, or in this case, the major arcana, to inspire us. And the Hidden Isle, and it really is a Hidden Isle. The Hidden Isle is our focus. It is the thing that players can latch onto when we start pulling out tarot cards to do like mechanical descriptions of what's going on. This gives them something to latch onto. So I'm going to page through some character classes while I talk to you guys about this game, and basically show you some artwork. See if we can get a 2-page spread here, and see if we can show you some of the great artwork. Now, I love games that have a I'm trying to think of the title to this. I love games that have a Sorry, I had to get rid of the front page of the book. Sorry about that. I love games that have a focus, so that players that are not familiar with this type of game have something to latch onto. So, players in the Hidden Isle, you play a character who has an intense relationship. Nay, you are an agent of a hidden isle, and that island is called Dioscoria. And Dioscoria is a hidden isle somewhere in the Mediterranean. And this takes place in the 16th century. And as a character from the 16th century, think of, there are firearms, but the firearms aren't as prevalent or industrialized. Think Three Musketeers and think worldview. So you can play a character from nearly any region of the Mediterranean and its accompanying nations. From Libya, you could be from like Morocco, or what would be the location of Israel, Palestine. You can be from Turkey, Italy, Greece, France, and those places, and deeper into the north or southern portions of those nations and such, all the way deep. And you could be a Bedouin oracle, you could be a whirling dervish, you could be a German spy, various characters like that. But all of the player characters are gathered together on this hidden island called Dioscoria. Now, the hidden island is like one of these uncharted, could it be protected by magic and arcane powers? Sure. And each player character plays a character who technically has arcane power. And each character class is associated with a school on this island. And while you're on the island, you are trained on the island for your skills, and you participate in, can I be a German leader with a mustache? Hopefully a lengthy one. Not necessarily that. Oh, it's a time change. Yeah. We're going to get our time change in November. So it's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah, we don't have any universal time. We don't have a world universal time change. So, for example, this character is the occultist, and it is one of the character classes. Now, don't think Dungeons and Dragons. These character classes, it's not like they have level or prescribed abilities. As a matter of fact, on the right of this person who's this young woman here speaking with a lounging back, barefoot, speaking with a spirit. You'll see next to this on the right side, it says the way of the spirits. And you get to pick one or more of these magical powers. And in Powered by the Apocalypse, it is a game that really does not embrace numerical values for every single thing that you can do. It is a very narrative game, and a lot of the magical powers are not blasty blast, shoot the bad guy. All of these powers are things useful and have use in a very creative way, so that the players can do unique things. For example, you may pick this power known as called swap. And if you pick swap, it says trade positions with another person who you can see. This can be magically resisted. Each time you use this ability, your essence thins. Take 1 spiritual harm. Okay. But what does that mean? Trade positions with another person you can see. Does that mean you could look up on the top of a castle wall and trade positions with the armed guard up there, thereby you instantly transporting yourself up to the top of the castle wall and the guard being transported down, encircled by your allies who decide to give this person a blanket party? Sure, if that's how you want to be creative, right? Or does this mean that if you're inside of a cage and there's someone poking you with a stick and you could trade places with them because you could see them? Heck yeah. Does that mean you could use it while you are running around in fog or smoke, or someone decides to throw a blanket over you and now you can't see anyone? Well, it means you can't. And these are how their magical powers are used. There's nothing really about blasting anyone. Again, here's another power about a very simplistic description of a magical power of weather. Manipulate the weather. Okay, a mild change, cloud coverage, fog, heavy rain, is free. You take 1 harm to cause more extreme weather events, such as a lightning storm. There's no damage. Doesn't tell you how far you can do it. Doesn't say how long it lasts. Things like that. So, very narrative. And the tarot cards add to that narrative ability. There's also, and this character class is the occultist. And as I page through, you will see that as a character, there is and they do call them classes. There's a character class, like here we have the illusionist, and there's also a school, the way of the prism. As you advance in this game, yes, you can mix and match some of these abilities. Because of your relation to Diascoria, um, you could be like a warrior type who also has magical abilities. By the way, the arcane abilities are available to every single character. So it's not like, oh, I'm playing a warrior, I can't cast magic. You do have something else. As you can see here, we have someone with a like a flintlock styled rifle, trained in the way of the wolf. Some of these abilities are, if you're familiar with Blades in the Dark, you will be familiar with some of these abilities as well. There's like an interesting ability here for the, this is known as the Hunter. There's a power or capability called Butcher. You kill at any cost. Create a 4-segment Butcher clock. When you use this ability, kill 3 or more minions effortlessly. Draw a pip card. Those are the numbered cards. Aces have a value of 1. If the value of the pip card is equal to or less than the number of minions you butchered, advance the clock. If you already used Butcher this scenario, fill 1 clock segment. When the clock is filled, take 1 trauma. And it basically, like, there's no numbers in terms of like how much damage do you do to a minion. You don't. You get to kill 3 or more of them basically instantly. You're just that good. And of course, minions are like your unnamed, red shirts, right? Things like that. And there's other abilities similar to that. We've got the Hunter, the Champion, trained in the way of the shield. We have the Way of Shadows, Living Shadow, Levitation, Sleight of Hand, Wisp, Slippery, Burglar, and this is known as the Prowler. We have the Scoundrel. You see that? Talk their way out of things, trickery, etc., etc. Known as the Way of the Lost. We have the Way of Blood. Of course, you got to have your edgelords, right? We have the Way of Blood, and the Way of Blood with the character class, the Siphoner. And we have the Way of the Song with the Performer. And as you can see in many of these character classes, again, this is like 16th century, and this isn't a game dedicated to like physical violence. It is about problem solving. So characters are going to be doing, it suggests that you're going to have a huge mix of physicality, exploration, social encounters, puzzle solving, and problem solving. So you're not really going to be able to solve a lot of problems with like murder killing your way out of it. Yes, you can, but essentially you like the Three Musketeers, there's going to be lots of like rescuing and convincing, parlaying, threatening, decoying, things of that nature. Let me go to another set of things here. Oops, it's big. And then I'm going to go, these are the digital reference sheets. They are in the books, but the reference sheets are really good because it does give you an idea of what is available in the game and how you run the game. So we do have a territory sheet. Territory sheet essentially is like the places the players go and what they do. Am I sharing this out to you? Okay, here we go. True. Yeah, next week, Ohio will also have the clocks turned. Yeah. Yeah, yes. I'm with you there, Drew. I am with you. We are a world community. I don't think we need it any longer. Although I would even go even further with having a universal time system around the world, but that's just me. Yeah. I hear you. I'm with you there. So this is real quick. This is the territory sheet. Um, this is for GM referencing, and you get to put the territory in, so you can pick various locations around the Mediterranean. You can pick some event, write down some events that may happen, are happening, or will happen in the future, and some contacts for the player characters, as well as creating a Diascoria is the base of operations for the player characters, so there can be a lot of drama there. The game master in this game is called the seer, and once you start looking at cards, you're like, is this Blades in the Dark? No, it's actually Forged in the Dark, but it is very much a Blades in the Dark analogous game. Players do have some mysticism. They are investigators, they are teachers, leaders, heroes, they are thieves, all those kind of things. Basically, you are the mitigating factor, you are the balance, you guys are the when you make a character in this game as an agent, and yes, your characters are called agents. When you make an agent, you are taking the role of the moral high ground in many ways, whether you are correct or not in your assumptions. And I made a reference that reminds me of Ars Magica, because in Ars Magica, you have a three-pronged threat to you as a player. And that three-pronged threat in this time period of 16th century Mediterranean worldview is faith, reason, and the arcane. So, reason, 16th century, you have enemies that are going to use alchemy and engineering and forward progress, technology in many ways. Think of Da Vinci, think of firearms, think of, like I said, alchemy and herbalists and apothecaries during that era. I wouldn't go as far as the industrial age, but you're getting close to it. You're also going to have enemies of the faith. We have many. This is the center of the world in many ways when it comes to religion, and so you're going to have agents that are of Christianity. We have tarot cards being used in this game because there are witches and warlocks. You are also going to have those that are from the Islamic world, and maybe even those that have sailed from other portions of the world, bringing Taoism and other faith-based thinking like that. Of course, you're going to have paganism that are going to be useful for creating enemy factions against the player characters, and maybe many of those who want to find where this Diascoria island really is, and try to infiltrate and figure out who these agents are, which is why you guys are like shadow agents in the first place. And of course, you're going to fight other arcane enemies, things summoned from the deep beyond and whatnot. So we have here the seer. The seer is the game master. The seer in this game is also a character. So the game master can play, given a personality and things like that, a character known as the seer that sends the players on their missions. And those missions, by using the tarot deck, the cards can be laid out, and then those references in as the tarot cards not only give us the mechanical features of what the adventure is, but the players may, it's like reading the future, understand or they might try to interpret what kind of encounters they're going to have as they travel through the Mediterranean. So you, as the game master, the seer, may not even have a plot in mind. You might pull 3 to 5 tarot cards of the major arcana, lay them out. Your players start coming up with why it is they're going to a certain place, because all you said was, you got to go to Tripoli, you have to go to the Black Sea, you must go to Vatican City, or so, you fill in the blank. And then the players are like, oh, what do the cards mean? And you're like, in the back of your brain, you're like, I don't even know what this is about. And yet you now have a plot that's being developed from looking at the cards, your players speaking out loud, and then you fill in the blanks. This quick reference, it talks about downtime and the ways for the characters to heal the harm that they take, whether it's physical, mental, social, psychological harm, and also maybe go see the seer to figure out what's going to happen in the future. Essentially using the tarot cards to tell you what the next mission is. We also have ourselves examples of clocks and how that works, and then also how some ways to modify the numbers from the pips from the numbered cards, which is our 1 through 10 number card system. This is for the character, the PCs, the agents, and a quick reference on what they do, what their capabilities are, what are the rules involved in it. Challenge draws. In many ways, you can choose a skill. You draw 1 pip card for free and 1 for each skill point. You play, and you get to choose and play one of those cards. We talk about division cards, downtime actions, and things. Something very common in Blades in the Dark and the Forged in the Dark system is the downtime actions. Downtime, you get to possibly add other benefits to your character while engaging in downtime to help you with the very next mission that you go on. And I really like a downtime that's robust that way, because it gives the player characters focus in downtime instead of just hanging around and going, what can I spend my gold on? Instead, what happens is during downtime, if they know that they're going to try to infiltrate an evil cult, then the players may try to get disguises and agents and disguises and allies that can help them sneak in somewhere, and more information about the cult and things like that. This is a quick scenario generation chart. Choose a mission type, and remember I was telling you about the missions. And these are most of the examples that you're going to have, like retrieve an item, rescue a person, protect a person, group, or structure, recruit person or group, contend with despots or dogma, contend with demons or magic, sabotage, prevent disaster. And in all of this, you don't see going to war. You don't really see murder hoboing. Yes, contending with despots and dogma, it could be an assassination attempt, but many times it's about recruiting, retrieving, protecting, destroying something, that kind of stuff, and using Powered by the Apocalypse to tell those stories. And then it's drawing cards to inspire. Yeah, draw cards to inspire these questions, encourage player suggestions. If stuck, draw a clarification card. Basically, draw another card to see if we can add something to it. And then it tells you, like, suggests, like, who's the adversary, what are the stakes, what is our mission, what is our lead. Like, do we talk to the sailor with the bird tattoo or investigate the ruined tower? And then the seer chooses the location, and then you just cut to the chase, cut to the very scene. And then there's quick character generation, and then I'm going to show you the character, I guess we're going to call them, we'll call them playbooks. Playbooks are very common in here, but this is the hunter character sheet. Let me see what you guys have to say. Universal. Oh, when I say universal time system, you mean the same hour of the day at all times around the globe? No. Well, yes and no. What I was thinking is that instead of it being noon for me and then noon for someone else in an hour and noon for someone else in an hour, that whatever time it is where you're at is a different time where we are at. It's harder to explain. It's much harder to explain it. But it would mean that we would do away with noon being the middle of the day, that 9 p.m. might be my middle of the day, and then 7 a.m. might be someone else's middle of the day, if that makes sense. But it's a little harder to explain, which I think would be good, but it would blow people's minds, and I don't think they'd like it. A scorned apothecary could bring so much horror to a village. You are so right. Yeah, and it is the kind of thing that would be excellent for this kind of game. And like I said, because the pip cards go from ace to 10, you could really use d10s if you wanted to. They don't mention it anywhere in the game in the hidden isle. They don't mention that. But if you were really stuck, you could technically write down all the major arcana names and just like make a numerical table, take it from 1 through whatever, and just roll on those. And then instead of the pip cards, you could do that as well. But with the cards being an in-world thing, it would be kind of cool for the players to actually have the cards given to them by an oracle, the seer. They travel, they flash the card to someone else who understands. Like, that becomes an in-world thing. Drew says, with the era the game takes place in the title, I wonder if creators have read Island of the Day Before from Umberto Eco. Maybe. Now, mind you, this game is a Euro theater game. This game is... who are the creators? Sorry. Greg Hobmeyer, Christian Knapp, Daniel Adams, James Patton, Elliot Baum, Viv Tanner, and I'm going to butcher this person's name. For layout and production, Zombar Zvab. This was created in Vienna, Austria. Blades in the Dark is trademark of 1/7 Design. The Forged in the Dark logo is 1/7 Design, is used with permission. Yeah, this is created by a primarily or centered in Vienna, Austria, and what came from a board game, I believe, that used tarot cards as its mechanism, and then it became a role-playing game. Amon says, I found sometimes the wrong... Oh, I'm sorry about this, guys. Come on, overlay. There we go. I found sometimes the wrong medical knowledge from sometimes can do much harm without intending to do so. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So we get this a little bit bigger. Sun position is the defining factor. Hour of the day would vary around the globe based on the sun position at the given location. Is that more or less the idea? Yes. Yes, is where I'm kind of heading with that, right? That we wouldn't change the time based on where we're at. The time would remain the same. It's just where we're located. But people don't. We tend to think of ourselves as being the center of the universe, and that would be too difficult to embrace. It means, Heliopus says, it means it's time for a duel. Yeah, duels are a thing in this game. It is during that period of time. Like I said, Three Musketeers is the closest I can think of it. Three Musketeers, French Revolution, the Renaissance era, the triple threat of faith, reason, and magic coming together and whatnot. It's the best I can do. It's the best I can think of. So this is a character sheet for the hunter. And we love looking at character sheets because it kind of gives us an idea of what the game is about. And it may be difficult for you to see if you're watching this visually, but there is I was going to say shadow. There's a shadow mark placed on the character sheet that's a little bit important. So under the hunter, it says, I am the reason doors have locks and kings have guards. I don't fight, I kill. I am not a warrior, I am death's servant. Which is kind of cool. That's that's very emblematic of this character class. It's really cool to have something, that says that. Like, no, I don't fight, I kill. So of course we have our name, our age, our culture, and our look. And since it takes place in the Mediterranean, it not only embraces, but it encourages you to play characters that are united under one banner, Dioscoria, but you come from different points of view. Like I said, someone from the deepest Africa to the most northern portions of Europe, you come together in the Mediterranean in this hidden isle known as Dioscoria. And this is something I don't know about anyone else, and this is it's my own specific style of pet peeve. I don't mind it. I think it's appropriate for the game, but I'm not a person who likes more than 5 or 6 stats for a character. But this is what the game is about. And these are like your skills. You really don't have strength, dex, con in this game. Instead, you have like 12 skills. And they are organized. So to the left of the hunter, below the little shadow mark here, there's a sword. And under sword, you have skirmish, convince, and study. Next to that, moving to the east, moving towards our right, we have wands. And under wands, we have unleash, perform, and channel. Next to that, we have cups. And under cups, we have slip, soothe, and mingle. And the last, we have pentacles. And there's finesse, bargain, and survey. And so with swords, wands, cups, and pentacles, when you draw a card, you may have a suit, what they call a trump suit. And if you draw a trump card, stop the jokes, because I could already hear them. If you draw a trump card, it doesn't matter what the number is, you succeed in that event, like Powered by the Apocalypse, right? You have an automatic success. And then there's success with consequence, and then there's failure. And so if you attempt to perform something, an action using one of your sword skills, which is skirmish, convince, or study, and you draw a card and the suit is a sword, that becomes trump. And so it doesn't matter what the number is. So if you drew a 2 and you're going against a challenge of 8, you would still win. If you don't draw the correct suit, then you start comparing numbers, and you get certain modifiers to increase your number. So if you drew a 3 and you're up against a 7, then you want to at least get 4 benefits or bonuses or draw more cards to add to it, like playing blackjack, but you can also go over that. And you can see under the hunter and the other character classes, some of your stats or your skill abilities are already filled in, and that's niche protection. So you can't it prevents you from making characters that's like, I'm better than a hunter at what the hunter does. So we're gonna move one down on the character sheet, and then we do have ourselves like experience points, and you start marking off experience points when you start to fail. So I like that when you start to fail, and successes as well. But when you start to fail in your skill attempts, you start marking off XP to increase some of your capabilities, your skills above. And then there's also harm. You don't have very many harm tracks. You have, like, for under sword, you have 2 spots for harm. There's basically 8 harm categories. So characters don't have a lot of what we would consider hit points. And it also means that if you are the hunter and you are very much doing your wands and swords thing, and you start taking harm in those, you're going to have to default instead to your cups and pentacles, because you're going to suffer too much harm, and then you won't be able to use those to further in the encounters. So this isn't a high numerical game at all. We're going to move down to the middle of the character sheet. You have your capabilities. Titles: The Mercies of My Blade. Very I love the sentences instead of like one wording. A lot of tabletop role-playing games use like one word to describe something, but I love the embracing the poetry of a thing. And then we have inventory. This uses the same Blades in the Dark quantum inventory. So you have inventory already listed for your character, but you can carry no more than 5 items. So with your quantum inventory, for example, if you decide like, I have a set of manticles on me, or you say I have a doppelganger charm, which there are no rules for this. It just, what does a doppelganger charm even mean? What is a gag of truth? Or what is a warning skull? That's up to you. And all of us agreeing to what that means. Then once you write down your once you say you have that piece of inventory, you mark off your load. And so now that's on your character sheet and it takes up a spot. So if you say I have a deck of tarot cards, check mark, now you have a deck of tarot cards. You can't go back and change it once you decide on what it is, which is kind of cool. So quantum, it prevents shopping. And then lastly, down here we've got like magical proficiencies. We have 4 categories of these proficiencies and magical sources, and the magical sources are very narrative. Does it come from the netherworld? Does it come from the mind of a mentor? Is it are you contacting spirits or jinn or things like that? And successes and failures, especially failures on your magical abilities, may draw those magical sources into the conflict, and you might not want them to be there. And of course, these are clocks. You'll see that there's clocks located next to some of these magical abilities that you have. And unlike Dungeons and Dragons, where you press a button and the thing happens, sometimes you actually have to fill in the clock before your magical ability takes place. So you may have an ability that predicts the future, and that future won't come until the clock is filled. Or you maybe you hypnotized an agent, you hypnotized a minion, a guard or a sage or innocent bystander, whatever, and you program them to commit a particular act, but they won't fulfill the hypnotism until the clock is filled. Things like that. Very much story-wise. And then there's contacts here. How much you fill in the clock for your affection with that contact, their name, description, the card that is associated with them, and then the land that they're from. And the card that they're associated with can be like is it a personality trait? Is it a description of a past event that you and that person went through? Is it a prediction of the future? It's basically a descriptor to read into it. And then there's distance. Distance is like, how close are they physically and or socially to you? And then lastly, at the bottom, like I said, it's like a playbook. You have for your character, you have burdens, vices, a virtue, and an ideal, and right in the middle you have your core. And on the core self, you'll fill in things like, as a child I solved problems by, and you would fill in a blank. Or as an adult, I survived or flourished by something, and you fill in this blank. And then I fulfilled virtues, and you would fill in a blank down there. And yes, you can use these to tag, or these are like aspects from fate as well, to give you bonuses or benefits in the game, numerical bonuses and benefits. And the same things for your burdens, your vices, your virtues and ideals. You also gain things like +1 to your challenge cards when you draw a card, or +3 to card numerals, whether you get to draw more cards. And here's another one, like -1 to challenge cards, but a +3 to card numerals and things like that when you draw your ideals. And then as we move down for the hunter, this is a description of their capabilities and things you may pick. And a summary of the magic on the right side, and a summary of the skills and things like that, just to give you a reminder. And of course you could write, either send this digitally to your PCs and whatnot, or you could just copy them down or something like that. And each of the character classes has their own character sheet, pre-filled in skills, up here with the black diamonds and or cantilevered squares, and then inventory. And each of the character classes has their own inventory. Some things are very common, like the tarot cards, a signal flare, a spyglass, seal diascoria. But there's also other things like a spirit flask, or opium, or angelic ward, or alchemy powders. And what does that all mean? Book of Demons, right? What does that mean in the further scope of things? And the occultist, and then we'll go to like the illusionist. And again, things are filled out. Truth bending mirror, concealment powder, flash powder, magical sources, magical proficiencies. Your burden, vice, core, self, virtue, and ideal, like all the other characters have that. And then the way of the prism and some of your magical abilities. I'll stop at the champion, and we will end this pretty soon. Here we go. I am the edgelord. Yeah, you're getting too deep. Shy Squad, you're getting a little too deep. But yes, about the time, about the time factor. Yes, it would be. Yeah, I was thinking that we would not send time based on where I am at, but instead it would be a global time, and then it would just move that way. But anyway, it would be too complicated. It would be far too complicated. Anyway, it's just only a few mercy to give. Again, thank you very much for letting me show this game off, The Hidden Isle. Like I said, to me, it's a great combination of Everway, a tarot card-based tabletop role-playing game. There's a very easy way to use dice, but I would suggest using the cards. You can use the cards that come with the game, as I mentioned before. You can use the cards that come with the game, as I mentioned before, or you could default to turning them into dice. No big deal. You do that if you wish. But yeah, The Hidden Isle. And I love the fact that, it says, I like the sentences in the explanation. Yeah, let's go back to some of those, because some of those are really cool. Let's replace this with, let's go right here. Did it share out for me? Why isn't it sharing? There we go. Come on. There it is. So, let's go back to the champion, right? Under the champion, and I even, if I hate describing it this way, but it is kind of fuzzy. The 12 skills that the players have access to are not very specific. So they are, and if you're familiar with Blades in the Dark, you'll understand what this means, right? There's skirmish, convince, study, unleash, perform, channel, slip, soothe, mingle, finesse, bargain, survey. If you take a look at these 12 skills, skirmish is as close to combat as you're going to get. Unleash is another one, maybe. Slip and finesse can also be used. But if you take a look and you look at them, they're also very social, and they're also very explorative, right? And so if you're a champion and you study, is that studying your enemy or studying a book? Is that studying the situation? Or would study and survey, are they similar? And the question, of course, is yes. If you are in a social situation, could you bargain in your social situation, or mingle, or soothe, or perform, or study, or convince? And if you notice, there's far more social skills than there are other things. But what about exploration? What about physically going through an urban landscape or the wilderness or something? Well, you definitely are going to use study, or Heck, even unleash, maybe, or survey, you know. So this game is very descriptive, and then some of the capabilities are descriptive too. Like under the champion, we have blessed water as one of their inventory, and numbing salve or salve. Right? What does that mean in your game? I don't know. Does numbing salve mean like you numb a wound because it hurts? Sure. But could it also be something that numbs their emotional state? That's up to your agreement. And then even under the champion, you have abilities, and look at this other one, the dents of my armor. That's what does that even mean? Because it sounds like, well, in order for you to have the dents of my armor, that means that you've been through some shit, right? So it's already descriptive. And if I can move down here to the champion, with like, we have burden, vice, your core self, your virtues and ideals, and you would fill those in. And if you take a look, there's these little squares under your burdens and little squares under your ideals. And you could actually have some of your burdens removed and then replaced with other ones, or you don't live up to your ideals and you start losing some of them as well. But let's go down to the champion here. And then we have our capabilities like the Way of the Shield, and names like what does it say up here? Champions are sincere devotees of some deeply held value. Perhaps they are medieval knights hankering for a lost age of decency and justice, or Ottoman janissaries determined to defend those who cannot protect themselves. They live by a code, even if that code, as with so much in Dioscoria, is self-written. And some of their capabilities are like stirring speech, chivalry, a warrior of faith, shatter, bodyguard, phalanx, duelist, consecrate. Kind of cool. And then here we have some of the more practical methods of using your skills. So, for example, under finesse, it does say things like lockpicking, pickpocketing, sniping, tinkering. Under unleash, brutal fighting, furious argument, destruction. Under skirmish, sword and gunfighting, grappling. So you can default to using your skills for those. And again, like I said, there are suits related to this: swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. And if you draw a card related to that you're using a skill, you draw that trump card, then you just perform that thing. You'll notice that you don't see stats for like guns. You don't see stats for how much my sword does. You don't see stats for how strong I am. And this is more of this is very powered by the apocalypse. It's all about telling a story, and how successful or not you are in telling that story and complicating the lives of the agents that you are. This is the shadow, and look at some of their inventory. Powdered shadow. That is really cool. Metal eating acid, distraction charm, and a dousing arrow. What does that even mean? Is powdered shadow just smoke, like a smoke bomb? Sure. But could it really be a powdered shadow? And you or someone is walking around without a shadow, and somehow you got someone arcane enough with their skill was able to take a shadow and powder it down. And who has the ability to even do that, right? And all of that is very descriptive. And of course, we've got the Way of the Shadows, your living shadow, levitation, sleight of hand, wisp, disappear in a wreath of smoke and teleport through a wall, ceiling, or floor. Each time per scenario you use this after the first, your essence thins. Take 1 spiritual harm. After each wisp, your character must also wait a few minutes before the power can be used again. What's a few minutes, right? Slippery, burglar, getaway, thieves instinct. And then we get down to scoundrel. But anyway, a great game. I am very impressed by the game, to be honest with you. This is definitely a storyteller's styled game. Very much in the vein of using the tarot cards to tell interesting stories about these agents. I really appreciate the Dioscoria Isle concept as being agents of this, agents of lore, agents of humanity that travel around the Mediterranean, righting wrongs and setting things straight and removing or putting people into power that should be, protecting religious or arcane locations, destroying or helping people develop technologies themselves, maybe just feeding people, maybe stopping political assassinations, things of that nature, preventing dictatorships and whatnot. And all of that is mixed into this game, and I really like that. Whereas the other game's a little more fuzzy in terms of your mission. At least with this one, it's like, hey guys, I'm the seer, I'm an actual character in the game, I'm putting you on a mission, you're going to this island, and done, go. And you're ready to start the game. So I really like that. I really like that portion of the game. Yeah, Powdered Shadow. Hey, good morning. It reminds me of the ability of Salubri, where they can calm emotional stress, but doesn't really fix the problem behind them, perhaps. I love that. Yeah, oh, yeah, Salubri, by the way. A little callback to Vampire the Masquerade. Yep. Yes, this is sorry for going down the rabbit hole, but a universal time could be very important in a science fiction setting. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm with you there, Ishtar. Yeah, I like the sentences and the explanations. Because, you know, the sentences give you a little bit of, like, flavor. You know, if you have written on your character sheet, the dents in my armor, then that automatically tells us, it gives us a hint as to something about your character before we've even seen what your character looks like. And I'm really appreciative of that. You guys know me. I love storytelling systems. I love the fuzzy bullshit. It really makes me happy because I love the creative process and I love the mind fuel that can happen. And when players come together, sometimes it sounds like they'll say some like kind of crazy bullshit out their mouth, but you're like, that's actually a good idea. Let's go with it, right? And so I really like that kind of thing. So this is the Hidden Isle. It is a Austrian game. Let me see if I can go to their website, as a matter of fact. Kickstarter, itch.io. The Hidden Isle. Let's go to their. Okay. Let's get rid of this. And let's see. And go to their. Let's share this out instead. We're going to share out this website. Replace it with this one. We're going to go. Here we are. So this is the Sephiroth website. I've heard it pronounced Sephiroth, not Sephiro, and but you know, improper emphasis on the incorrect syllable. But anyway, this is the PDF. I do have the links down below in the doobly. And it says the Hidden Isle is a pen and paper RPG that uses tarot cards instead of dice, set in the 16th century on the secretive island of Dioscoria. It focuses on role-playing and collaborative storytelling. This is a game about swashbuckling adventures across Europe and the Middle East, stealing forbidden texts from oppressive regimes, protecting an island of outcasts, using ancient magic, and toppling empires with just the right speech at the right time. If you're familiar with tarot, then the Hidden Isle will resonate with you all the more. but no experience with tarot is necessary. To help you feel like a mystical oracle and stay inspired, we'll provide you with tables and guides to help you quickly understand each card draw. And if you read through the PDF in the book, it does suggest, like, if you're familiar with tarot, it has breakout boxes like, this is the perfect time to start using some of your intrinsic tarot knowledge to do a thing. But it's like, if you don't know it, draw a card and then interpret it. If you don't know what the card means, draw another card to kind of focus down your imagination. And the cards are ephemeral enough to be interpreted in many ways. And yes, something else I really like about the Hidden Isle as well, Discoria, this island of outcasts, of people from different walks of life. It is a perfect example of incorporating a very, dare I say, diverse, woke, that specifically calls to, and I just increased the size of this again, over on the website, it does call to the fact that it makes perfect sense why this game is built around this kind of thing, including the fact that maybe you want to make a character that in every other location in the 16th century you would be burned at the stake, whether it has to do with your gender status or sexuality or your religion or your age or your social status. But on the Isle of Discoria, you are welcomed because you're an outcast and you're an agent that goes around and tries to right wrongs. In other words, you can layer onto this a modern sensibility into a 16th century world and both fit together. Now, there's going to be conflict. Hell yeah, there's going to be a lot of conflict with that. But yeah, because on Discoria, they're not going to look the other way. But when you start walking out your front door and you travel to these other isles, they are going to have their own, whether we want to call them small-minded or not, they're going to have their own preconceived notions, and you can make this as arcane and fantastical or real world, real historical events, and mix and blend them all together and use them as you wish. So yeah, narrative heavy, rules light. It very much is. Vibrant 16th century world. The GM can plan or improvise tarot cards instead of dice. And then it's almost 200 pages, 192 pages. Hardcover, gold, things like that. So we're going to stop sharing this and get back into here. Yeah, Sephiroth. Yeah, it does look like that, doesn't it? Yeah, Ishtar says, not all arcane knowledge was allowed. Hell yeah. Sometimes arcane knowledge was only allowed with certain groups of people. Some was only allowed for certain classes of people as well. Things like that. I had a sage design who believed that a dark age will happen against me, gathers knowledge regardless of their source. Knowledge must be preserved per any means, was his creed. And that character concept is perfect for this kind of game. It's perfect for that. I mean, and then maybe an ally of yours might be like I was a noble and they murdered my family. They assassinated them and removed my noble family's name from all the books of record. I want to gain revenge and bring my family's name back to light, or something like that. That could also be a character concept, and so on and so forth, right? Maybe you want to lead a group of people into ascension, that we are petty and we're fighting amongst each other and we shouldn't do that. We should bring on a world of peace. And so now, I'm not one to do a whole lot of detail about the physical aspect of the game, but this is a hardback book and I love the feel of this book. It has a matte finish to it, so it's got a matte cover. You can see it's unfortunate you can actually see like the oil from my fingers, so it's and palm and whatnot. It does have gold leaf and gold foil. If my lighting is, the camera's acting up. It also has a double ribbons, so it has double gold ribbons to hold your pages, and mine came with a piece of art someone with a long arm here. I don't think it matters. I can't tell whether it's a man or a woman. Something in between, and someone in between. And again, it does this as you flip through this book. The top of the pages are color coded, so we've got like purples and green tags, and gold and yellow and lime colored and things, so you can quickly reference them, because it does use, at the very top of the page, it does use like Roman numerals, and I don't know how to read the Roman numerals, but at the bottom of the page, it does have standard page numbers, so don't worry about that. Oh, the music. Oh, I did not know that. Thank you for letting me know. Hold on. Where's the mute? Come on, music. I didn't realize it was that loud. Damn. Maybe that's the default. I'll have to watch that next time. That's awesome. His masterpiece would be to create a magical blade to guard his research for all eternity. I love that. Oh, wow. That's cool. That's cool, Ishtar. I like that story. I like that a lot. What else is there? Oh, it does come with a set of tarot cards for this game as well. I love the tarot cards. Spheres of Heaven tarot cards. I really do like the cards. They have a great quality, but you can use any set. There's a billion of them out there. So you know, if you want to get a set that you think is more appropriate for your play style, go ahead and do that as well. I need to get a sound card unit. Silly. Oh, that's scary. That is very scary. Hey, baby. It's silly. Yeah, I don't have a sound card to allow the music to duck down when I'm talking, but maybe one of these days I'll get a soundboard or something like that that'll let where that works for me. I like the music in the background just in case there's too much dead space, because it's just me. So sound kind of does an audio thing that fills the background for it. So yeah. But anyway, guys, check out. Damn it. Okay, let's put up a better image here, shall we? Let's do this. Yeah, but much better. Here's the Hidden Isle. It is if you are someone who likes Blades in the Dark or the Forged in the Dark games or Powered by the Apocalypse, this is a game for you. If you want something that you're very welcome. If you would like a game that's not so cyberpunkish, when I say cyberpunk Blades in the Dark, what I mean is like if your players aren't really into like the murder killing part of it and the thieving, and you want something a little bit more progressive, more hopeful, more social, this is probably the game for you. Also, if you're someone who knows about 16th century Europe and the Mediterranean, that's also as well. I kind of agree with you there, Daryl, because I'm starting to wonder if artists and layout make a bigger chunk of the profits. So many pretty games these days. I'll say that layout and artists are making their money up front. Some make their money through percentages, but not many. Most are just hired. I hate to use this term. They are contract workers. Most artists and layout are like hired and fired. You know, they make their money up front. Think of it like an actor or a set designer or something for a movie, right? You get your $2 million up front, and then you leave, but the producer of the movie, the people who invested the money, they get their percentages, and they hope that they make enough money off of it. Yes, we will. Friday. Or Fridays. Yeah. Future Fridays are back. Yeah. Okay, okay. Okay, no problem. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, just read the comments. Yeah, I'm with you. I there's a prices join late. Did you get it on Kickstarter or bought it separately? Looking for print and PDF deal, but couldn't find it on their website. I couldn't find it either. I got mine through the Kickstarter, and I just received the physical version of it. Yeah, Future Fridays are back. Yeah, independent contractors, the way of the future. Yeah. So I received the physical copy and the digital copy through Kickstarter. I received the digital one. I say I should have done a little spotlight on it a while ago. I want to say when it first fulfilled, and the PDF is you can find the PDF, but the print version is hard to find. Yeah, the print version, because I even put the links down below, and I was just like, so where's the print version? Where's the print on demand version? Where's the and I couldn't find it. Now, again, their home base is Austria, so that there may be some issue with that, and I would beseech them and just scream at them and go, dude, put it on drive-through, make it print on demand so the rest of us can get it, because at least that way, I can understand they probably want the quality to be high, but you know, and there are many people who collect books, like literally collect the physical books, like myself, that want to see the physical book on the shelf. But yeah. Oh, you are. Oh, well, shit. Smack me in the face and call me stupid, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's cool. That's really cool. If I had the influence, I probably would reach out to them to have a discussion about this game. But it's cool, right? Like it is. When I see a game hack, I love it when they're able to recontextualize the game hack. And when I say a game hack, this isn't wrong. Forged in the Dark is the SRD OGL available on their website. Oh, you weren't aware of that? No. In the very first, let me see if I can. Let's. Here we go. Here's the PDF, and here are the individuals involved in it. But let me page down to right here. Corsica, published by Corsica Creations, Interactive Media, GmbH. I have no idea what that means. Vienna, Austria. And I've listened to interviews, and there's definitely an Austrian accent. so yeah. Yeah. So Forged in it, by the way, here it is. At the very bottom of the screen, Forged in the Dark is the licensing for using Blades in the Dark and its variations, and they have all the rules on their website with the SRD system reference document, so you can kind of copy and paste the rules themselves and then quickly modify them if you want to and shape them into this world. And they did an excellent job with this. The cards, the tarot cards, the location and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, really cool. So anyway, guys, yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Well, the more you know. Right? It's awesome. Well, I'm glad at least they have one more fan, right? And look at some of the other reviews out there and see if it's kind of the game for you. Yeah, similar to LTD, like limited, something like that. I just don't know I don't know how to pronounce it. Let's put it that way. Yeah, true. So anyway, I love this game. Yes, it is a game of adventure and tarot cards. It's also a game of introspection. Listening to one of the interviews, hey, you have a great one as well. Listening to some of the interviews, I did notice that the creators wanted to have a game that is just as much an exploration of right and wrong, ethics and morality, internal and external ideals and burdens and virtues, as much as Dungeons and Dragons adventuring outside of yourself, right? So because from what I understand, in one of the in one of the interviews, he was mentioning that the players are these agents toppling and holding up regimes, and yet that doesn't mean they're right in doing that. Just because they have the ability or the magic or the influence or whatever to do the thing doesn't mean that they're correct. So there is no right method of playing. They are just happen to be the outcasts. Are they just striking back at humanity and society because they're angry, or are they really in the right? If they remove someone from power, is it going to have unintended consequences and things like that? And so you can play this game as lighthearted and fey and poetic and fun and light, or you can be very, very dark, and you can go to dark paths and trauma and whatnot. And again, like I said, this isn't really about this game isn't really about hit points and damage. As you can see in the character sheet, you've only got like 8 pips or 8 boxes to check in, and that's if you spread yourself expertly thin. For the most part, even with your magical abilities and things like that, you're going to take too much harm, so you want to try to avoid those things. And yes, harm can come from mental trauma, physical trauma, loss of social clout, things like that. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for allowing me to share this out with you guys. Thank you very much for just being part of the show as well. Tomorrow is what we're calling AbTab Tuesdays. I'm a member of the Facebook group Absolute Tabletop, and they are 4 individuals that have produced many tabletop role-playing games. They also put me on the map. They've been very supportive of the things I've done. We are publisher. I am not part of their publishing group, but we are tangentially related to each other, and I want to give back. So tomorrow is AbTab Tuesday. The link is already available. We're going to go over something known as Aether Nexus, a fantasy mecha tabletop role-playing game, and we're going to go into those worlds. So AbTab Tuesdays are where we're going to delve into the worlds of Absolute Tabletop, and the people that are not part of Absolute Tabletop who have produced games like Scavenger and Iscloth and the Ravaged Wastelands of Cryfoth, and so many other, Convocation, and Oath of the Frozen King, and Battle of Actor's Gate. There's so many of them, and these different fantasy worlds, and do that. So guys, have a great one. Thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for allowing just being here and allowing me to do what I do. So guys, have a great one. I will see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, here Monday through Friday on YouTube and Twitch, and then of course a call to action at the very end. Thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe, follow, do all this stuff. It's free and it defeats the algo monster. So guys, I'll see you later. Peace.